So what we're doing is we're making it so that you can select the outbound bot from when you're sending messages from the chat client. So on the back end, I've had to make a couple of modifications on this. So when I look at this read outbound bots for stream, I'm going to go ahead and move this. I want this to be a, I'm just thinking for a second. If I look here at my VMs, I don't really want to put these in the lib. So what I want to do here is we can do this as a routes outbound is what it is. And we're going to say that this is called read path outbound bots strings. Just a second. Because a route VM will give me my bot. It'll give me my path. But my path isn't going to tell me if it's a server or a channel, so we'll leave that. I'm going to do this one as a route VM. And we'll just say read routes outbound. And I can just scrap that. And if I look at my services here, I can scrap this one. Because I can just use in my, we're going to rename this to be paths outbound. Okay. And so now what I can do is back here in the hub, we're going to do a read routes like that. And I want to say for each var route in routes dot where my route type is equal to outbound. Now I want to do for each var path in route.path, and I want to do a switch on my path.path type. And so this is going to be a server. Services.read server read path server of my path.id and my application user ID. This is going to be a channel of my path.id and my application user.id. And this one will be a, and we're going to say that this is called a base path VM called path. And we'll say that that's null. We'll say that this is a VM. And then we have the same thing here for a webhook. And now that I have my path, which should have a route on it, which is up here. So my route here should have a var bot equals route dot bot. And now what I want to do is a var we're going to say that this is my routes. We're going to say that this is a route outbound bot stream equals a new route outbound bot stream VM. And on this one, I want to say that my bot is equal to route.bot. So we need to have a list of these. And what I want to do is I want to get this one, var route outbound bot stream is equal to vms dot first or default s, where my s dot bot dot id is equal to route dot bot dot id. So if my route outbound bot stream is equal to null, then we can make a new one like that and do a route outbound bot stream. Nope. And do a vms dot add route outbound bot stream. Okay? And so then down here, for each one of my paths, we're going to do this, and then I want to do a vm dot path. Nope. It's called my route outbound bot stream dot paths. So let's look at this. This should have on it a prop I collection here of a route of a path outbound bot stream base VM. And I'm going to call this a path. And we're going to add my VM here. No, we can scratch these, put this one in here, and we can make this just a path VM. Okay, and then when we're all done with that, we can return my VMs here, like that. Okay, that modified quite a few things. So the first is when I look at my this one. So now let's go back over here to the front end, and we're going to look at the web hub. And when I return this, we're going to be returning a bots received for stream, which is called a it's a bot and a number of these path VMs. So it is different. I'm going to say that this is just a route outbound VM. But this, I can just use my iRoute, right? So we also want to put on here a bot username and a provider name. Like that. So then when I'm creating this, I want to have this stuff here. So we'll do a var bot equals await services.read bot asynchronous of my route.bot.id and my application user.id. And now if my bot does not equal to null, then we can do this whole thing. This is going to be bot.provider.name. This will be bot.username. Doesn't matter for these two because you already have that here on the bot DTO, so we can scrap that. Okay, that looks good. So back here in the web hub, we're now receiving iRoute. And this is going to be called routes outbound for stream received. And this is going to be called request routes outbound for stream. So this is a receive routes outbound for stream. And this is going to be that one. And this is going to be a routes of type iRoute array. We're going to look for this one here, which is this one, which we're changing it to be routes. Request routes outbound for stream. And then the last one is down here. And this is going to be a routes received outbound, which is going to be a iRoute array called get routes outbound for stream. And then I can move this down to my routes. Okay, so that's done. We can look back at my chat component. Request routes outbound for stream. And this is going to be a get routes outbound for stream of my routes of iRoute. And this is going to be routes, which is a iRoute array. And this is going to be a route ID. So back here on the chat component, we're going to do this for my route ID. I'm going to do a route selected. And this is going to be route dot provider name, right? This includes a bot username and bot provider on route. We're going to say that this needs to have a second, because you're not really getting a route here, are you? To get a route, you would also need to have a GUID for the ID. But you're doing this by bot, not by route. So realistically, it's a path. So that means that this isn't really a route. This is it would need an ID is equal to my route.id. No, that's not correct. It doesn't need this ID because it's by bot. And then you want to get your number of paths, which is here. So bot is really what your ID is on. And then, okay. So I hate to do this, but I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to call this paths outbound VM. We'll say it's a routes paths outbound VM. Route paths. Which means this is a receive route paths outbound for stream and a request routes paths outbound for streams. Which means back over here in the web hub, change it one more time to be a routes paths outbound for stream received. And we want it like that. Because a route has one type of bot on it and a lot of these, so that's fine. Okay, the next one is our receive, which is here. which is called routes paths. The next one is our request. Request routes paths outbound for stream. And then our last one is down here called routes paths outbound for stream received. Get routes paths outbound for stream. You go look at this one, and this needs to be paths. Like that, and then we need to do that here. Okay, so far so good. So it's here, it's called a requests routes paths outbound for server. Like that. Now when I look back at my chat component, if I look at this one, I should have this one. I'm gonna steal this and put it over here as the outbound bot. And we're going to bind this to route ID. No, we're going to bind this to my path ID. So now for each one of my routes, this is called route, my label will be route.botProvider. Route.bot.provider. And we don't have a disabled field. And then this is going to be a route.paths. Like that. And there's our value. And so now in this, I want to have my path.provider. I'm sorry, it's a route.bot.provider. And then my route.bot.username. And then I want to have one more here, which is the server, if it's of type server. So we're going to do this as a route.bot. No, as a path. And we could do this as any call it a route path dot server dot, and then if I look at my iServer, it's called the name. And then we can get rid of that. And I only want to do this if my route dot bot dot provider is not equal to Discord. And otherwise, I guess I could put this on a span. Because otherwise, if it is equal to that, then this is going to be a channel. And if I look for my channel, it's just called name. Okay, let's see what happens when we run it. Okay, we let it start. We get the login. We take a look at the chat. We sign in. We're going to receive my routes. Okay, let's just see if it works right away. When we look at my routes, here it is. It's separated by provider type. And it says which is the channel that it's going into. So when I look at this again, I don't want this to be a provider. I want this to be a we'll do that. I wonder if I can do this. And then add a like that. And then I could just scratch these two so we would actually know what it would go to. And we're going to say channel. And this one will say server. Now we'll try it again. Here we go, and now it shows me the server that it's in. I'll leave chat. Perfect. So now when I do this, and I send a message here, I'm gonna want to get my route. So we're going to say const selected route equals this dot routes, and we want to do a filter where we're going to first do a this dot routes dot for each x where we do this. We want to do a var path equals this dot, I'm sorry, it's my x dot paths dot filter x where my, oh sorry, t where my t dot id is equal to this dot path id. And I want to get the first one. So if my path exists, then I can do this. And then here we can do a return. And in this, we're going to say my provider name is going to be your route.bot.provider name. Your provider type, that's going to be let's not worry about that one. My message is good. My server source so instead of using this, I'm going to say path ID. As a string. Okay. My stream source is here we want to get my selected stream. This dot streams dot filter x where my ID is equal to this dot selected stream selected of the first one. This is called stream ID joined. And now here we could say if my stream exists, then we can do this stuff. So then for each one of my routes, I'm going to find the path. And if it finds the path here, this is going to be stream. My user source is going to be path dot x dot bot dot second. Do I know what my user source is? Because that's a DTO. So let's change this to be a bot VM. Which means here we could say var bot equals await my services dot read bot asynchronous of my route dot bot dot id and my application user dot id. And now if my bot is not equal to null, then we can do this and do my bot there. That's a VM now. So bot.user. And my server source if I look at this path channel, that doesn't have a server on it, but it should. So this should be a path server VM. Which means that this one is a path server VM. Which means that this one is a path server like that. Which means that you should have a server on this. So where you were doing your read second. You just change that to be a VM. Here. Second. So now everywhere where you're getting your receive channels, interesting. I don't ever see this requiring that so where am I filling that? This one you're filling up the available channels, that's fine. Path channel is a path server DTO. And this one we want to include my s.server. And the same thing on this one. Looks good. So this time now, this should be a if I look back at my model here, this path VM should include a server on it, right? Second. Yes. So I'm going to move this to be on path, like that, and then that. And then I can get rid of path server. Like that. And then this one is a path. Okay, we'll do the same thing here. We'll get rid of path server and just put that on path VM directly. And then this is a path VM. And the same thing on the DTOs. Like that. And then a path DTO. There. Let's go ahead and rebuild it. It's going to give me a bunch of errors here. So if I look at this, we can scrap that one. And this is just going to be paths. Same thing here. And path DTO. Let's leave our errors up while we work through them. Okay, this is just a path and paths. This is paths and path VM. Like that. This is path. This thing says that it's got a problem with these, which is correct. Okay, this is path and path DTO and path VM and path. So this is path here. Oh. Yeah, that's right. This is paths. And here it's path again. Path again. Almost done now. Okay, we'll do this as a path DTO. And we'll rename this as paths. Like that. And there. This is definitely path. A lot of these of types we don't need. Okay, let's go ahead and rebuild it. And this time I'm going to look in my whole server for a paths dot of type path server. So we can scrap this one. This one. Okay, that's it. So now this one is if I look at my paths here, this should have a server and a server name right on it, like that. That should make a couple more errors for me, and this is going to be a path.server. So my errors are okay, the first one is in models TS under app core. Right here called iPath. And then paths. And then on this side, if I look at my server, we want to have a paths and a server. Number of paths. Yeah. Okay, the next one is path TCP in app shared. This is called iPath, and we're going to change this to be called paths. And this is getting created from my routes, correct? Here. This is called paths. Looks like we need to do this a couple more places. Second. This is called paths and path and path. Easy enough. There it is, server and server name inside a path. There we go. Okay, the next one here, path twitch. We're going to say that this is called paths. Okay, the next one is paths WebSocket. Okay, the last one is these two, which are fine. So if I look inside of routes where this is being called, that's fine, that's fine. This is paths, paths, and paths. Let's recompile it. Okay, it looks good. Now on this side, we need to update my database. So I'll set the web API as a startup project, and then to package in a Git manager, I'll jump down here to the code first. And I want to do a add migration, and we're going to say remove paths server in lieu of paths. And then I'll do an update database. Okay, so let me open up here my SQL Server. And we're going to scrap this database. And now I'm going to go ahead and open up my migrations here. We'll do a add migration called init. And now I'll do an update database. And there it is. So now I'm going to set this as multiple startup projects again. We can start it up. Okay, so the server halted because it couldn't find some stuff. So let's go ahead and create the bots. The first one we want is a Twitch bot. And we're going to log in as someone, so hang on 1 second. Okay, back with you. I need to put in one more passcode here. And now I'm back with you. Okay, that should have added one bot. And it did. Let's add our Twitch bot. Oh, I just did that one. I wanted to add the Discord bot. And I can add that to Pixel Horror Studios here. That one's done. So now when I restart it, it should start at my server correctly. And now we look at my bots, and I'm going to create another one here called a WebSocket bot, and I want to call this my WebSocket bot 1. And then I want to make another one here called a TCP bot, and I'm going to say this is my TCP bot 1. Now when I look at my streams, I'm going to create a stream here called Stream 1. And we'll create a route on it called Inbound Route. And I'll do it from my Discord. And I want to add in a path here called Game End of the Line. That was not successful. So let's see why that was. If I look here at my create path, here, first things first, we're going to rename this create path async, and then a read path asynchronous, and then also in my requests, we'll change this to be a path create request. Like that. So now if I look here in my backend, I should have something called an iPath. And when I'm running my web hub here called request, nope, it's called a create path. Let me look at this thing here on my hub. I want to look for path. We're going to change this to be a create path, create server, create path. Like that. So now when I look at my create path here, this needs to have a server ID on it. And here we go, we have a read path, which I don't need. We like this one more. Okay. We're just going to map this straight across. That looks fine. If I look at my request here, this should be a path create request. So now in my hub, you had a create path called create path. The next one here was a create path server, which is called a create path. And we're going to say that this is a I path create request. So this one extends I path create request. And this is just create path now. And then down here you have get create path right here. Okay. Now, when I look at my paths Twitch component, that's the first one. This is called create path. When I look at my path TCP, that doesn't have one. When I look at Discord inbound, the next place is in routes component. It's right here, get create path. Let's make sure that we know everything. Because I feel like you're going to have a iPath server create request here. Looks like I have these things in here multiple times. I route request. This one is where this one's just in app shared. So we can get rid of this I route create request, I path, I channel, I path channel webhook, I provider currency, iPath channel webhook. That should go inside of the core. Past channels webhooks. That should go inside of here. Right there. Okay, I think that that's okay. So let's rebuild it. This is iPath create request. Says in my WebHub service on line 519. I corrected that one. The next one is on paths Discord inbound. Says it can't find path channel create request. No, it can't find its server ID. So this one would be my server ID is equal to this dot. Now I want to say my const selected channel is equal to this dot channels dot filter x, where my ID is equal to channel selected, and we want the first one. So if it exists, then we can do this right here, and I can pass in the server ID, which is my selected channel dot server dot ID. Like that. Okay, and past Twitch, we have an error here, which is a iPath create request. Let's make sure it compiles here. That's good. Confirmation modal data, I thought we had that already here. This is an iStatus create request, iRoute create request, iPath create request. That looks right. That looks right. Okay, one more compile. And then we're going to look in here for anything that's called path server. And then I want to look at my Twitch component called create path. Remove path server. And then this is our last one in my WebSocket component. Let's give it a run. Okay, we log in. Look at my stream. I'm going to add my end of the line. Okay, that never fired. So it's on path Discord input model. So it's this, I think, is what's failing. So when I loaded my channels here, that comes off routes. Available channels Discord. So back over here, on paths, just a second. That's fine. It should have a server attached to it. So when I requested my routes, if it's a channel, I want to include the server. But this is a DTO. So let's change this route VM to be a path VM and try it again. Hey, same issue. So I hit create path channel. I want to here do a console.log of my selected channel. Oh, and in here, this available channels Discord, let's change this to be a VM. So that way we can include my server. Try it again. That's good. It created the path. And now what I'm going to do is change this back. So I don't break anything. Try it again. And there it is. Okay. The next path that I want to add here is a outbound route into the same channel. And I'm going to put this inside of a end of the line. Do not add the Discord outbound bot. Why couldn't I do that? It's going to be in the auth component. You have a callback component. So here, we have my request Discord authorization and my callback. That looks fine. Okay, we're getting our call back. This looks good. We split it across. We get my user Discord. I read my server. I get my channel. I get my bot Discord. Here I create my path channel webhook, and what I don't have on here is my server ID. And this one is going to be equal to your channel Discord. This doesn't have one yet. So when you're retrieving your channel Discord here, you want to include the server. So we'll try it again. We create the path. We bind it to Pixel Horror Studios end of the line. Take me through. This time when I look at my read server Discord, oh, you already have that. And now it worked. Okay, so now I can look at my streams, and I have my inbound and outbound routes here for that one. Let's add in another one called a route for Twitch, inbound Twitch, for Ali Chat. Just like that. Okay, we want to have the outbound path. And we also want to put that into Ali Chat. And then I'll create an inbound route for a WebSocket bot. And I'll create an outbound for the WebSocket bot. And we'll start with that. Because now when I clear this and I look at my streams, I can select my outbound bot here. Like this. And I'm going to say, hello world here. Now, I'm expecting to get a send message here in my routing. And this is going to be up here under on TCP WebSocket event. So I don't see this invoking here. Okay, so on the front end, when I send a message here, I want to say alert hello one. I want to say if my stream exists, we're going to say alert stream exists. And then we're going to say alert sending for route. And we'll do an alert here of my this.path ID. And then here we're going to say alert received message. And see what happens. I do want to figure out what that's doing that. Hello one, stream exists, sending for route, received message, sending for route, okay, so over here on your web hub, you should have a request send message. So I've received my message here with no server source. But it does include a stream source and a user source. Now we're going to send this thing. Yes. Over here, and it says it's not connected right now. So if I look at my server, I'll look at this thing. Let's go ahead and try it again here. So here we want to say I'm going to look at my message, which is an OAuth token. Get my user ID. We authorize and create them. And then they're connected. So we should be sending messages on this. We're connected. This time we've received the message. We have everything except for my server on it, right? Server source is null. I didn't see that post in my Discord. What failed? If I look at my web API, should have this service client messages on it. Which is down here. Let's try it again. That looked good. I log in. Oh, I know why that's disconnecting. Because your client auth is digesting the Pong event. Which I don't want. Now it shouldn't disconnect anymore. So I'll send a message here. We deserialize the message. My message type is a Twitch message. We fire the event, which should do a process TCP message or something. Something happened there that I didn't like. Let's do another one. Okay, so we're going to send the message. We deserialize it after we receive it. We get my message event. Here, we're going to process my Twitch message. Wait, why didn't that work? Because your server is null. So to fix that, path is coming from server. So back over in the hub, when we're requesting this, routes, let's check that again. Okay, if I look at this thing, my VM here is a channel webhook and has no server. Like that. That should fix it. Okay, we log in. If I look at my VM this time, it has a server. So I could choose this and do a test message. It gets sent one time. We processed it. Let me try it again. So it errored somewhere. Okay, so over here where we receive it, I'm going to go to my process message. Now it's telling me my server is null. And my user is null. So we have a user and a server. And now we can try it again. Give it a login. Select my outbound bot. Send my message. Okay, I never saw it hit. So we still got another error there. Did it still not get a server? Because it doesn't. When it casts this as a message twitch, it should be in C. Why is this a message twitch? A TCP message event? It's because you never set your provider type. It says it had a user and a server. So this one, I need to set my server source, right? Your provider type. So can we do like a if I look at my globals real quick, you could do a this.global service.get provider type of x.bot.provider. Try it again. This time, it's going to send it as a Discord message, which is correct. My server is null. And my channel Discord is null. So it's actually coming from this path ID. So if I added on here something called a path ID, which is a string, and I want all of these to be server source. Except for this one. So that's okay, we'll leave that. And then let's just start with that. Because I feel like that path ID so we'll add on here a string called path ID. Put these on all my interfaces, or my implementations of my interfaces. Try it again. Okay, this time it fires. We're going to look at my server source, which I get an ID on. We process it. It's going to say that we do send it to the stream. We set our stream source. And this time our provider type is going to be a Discord message. And that didn't quite work. So let's look at it again. One thing I want to add on here is I want to say add try-cat to all methods in routing. And service routing on the top. So this time in my route of type paths, of type webhook, we want to send to this channel ID. Then we're going to get our bots, and then for each one of those I want to get my server Discord. And this is what's called a channel Discord. And then this one's going to be a channel discord.server as server Discord. Okay, we send the message. It hits there. We hit here. We jump through the hoops. We process the message. We get my channel Discord and my server. We process my message outgoing. But I never saw this thing fire. Try it again. Okay, we're going to switch on my message here. Which looks good. And my message here. I never assigned a channel Discord or a server or a user. And then you're sending your message, hello. Now, why is it saying that there's an error? If I look at my locals, bad request, it said. That doesn't make sense. Let's try it again. Same issue. And then it's disconnecting it, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my web hub, my Discord here. And I want to look at my webhooks. It looks like I'm maxed out on webhooks at the moment. Okay, good. We cleared all the webhooks. Now I can try it again. So now when I do a outbound message here, we can do a test. We still got another catch. It's because of this. Let's try it one more time. This time, it's successfully, and I received the message over here. I also want to check one more place, which is at my twitch.tv, Alley Chat. And we can do one more test here. And after it sends a message, it seems like it's disconnecting me or something. Okay, so that time it worked, and here it is inside of my chat. So when I send it again, it says chat component can't send property null of chat component. So what that means is on your server, on your routing, we should have a process message where you send it to all connected channels, right? Here, which means that in my chat component, I'm using this server, but I want to use server source. Because I don't believe that when I'm sending this back across the pipe, see? So what I want to do then is over here, when I receive a message over TCP, I also want to say that my args dot, we'll say here that my C dot we could say server is equal to args dot server source. And your C dot user is equal to args dot user source as a user TCP WS or VM DTO as a server TCP DTO. Same thing here for the next one. Same thing here for this one. But for this one, it's a little different. This is WebSocket. This is Twitch. And then this one's a little different because the next thing I need is I want C dot, I want to get my path. I guess we'll just do a using a var data access layer equals new data access layer Ali chat SQL. And this one you want to say path is equal to data access layer dot context dot paths channels. And we want to get my first or default asynchronous where my ID is equal to my args.pathID. And I want to include my channel. So here we'll say if args.GUID.parse of my args.pathID out var GUID. And we want to say this is a try parse. And then I want to say if my path does not equal to null, then I want to say my C dot channel discord is equal to mapper dot map to a channel discord DTO of my path dot channel. Like that. And then we're going to process that message. So I could just say up here that we're going to have a path channel path equals null. So that I can do this one. Like that. So now if my path channel does not equal to null, then we'll do that, and then that. Okay, that worked. That did not work. Same problem. Can't read property name of null. So before we do this one, let me comment this out. Hey there, Psychotronic. No, I like JavaScript and TypeScript. That's pretty cool. They're doing it all in C#. So now I'm going to try it again, hello again. But it's only sending it one time. Why is it only sending it one time? Yeah, it's only sending it one time. Why is it disconnecting after it sends one message? Because I think it's erroring. Why is this failing? So it seems like this is leaving and joining a lot. Okay, client, we're going to send this. But this only begins the sending, right? Yeah, that sent it. Okay, my join channels are none. That's fair. Okay, that worked. That worked. That worked. We get our send call back. That makes it start receiving again, right? I think we just want receive. Hey, SwiftDev. I mean, yeah, that makes it work. Okay, that's good. So that's better. If I was to send that through here, that one didn't take. So if I look back at my service routing, I send this one. All right, so it should be sending the server here. Yeah. Just gonna send this over to the connection. So here, one more try. I mean, that didn't take. Where is this happening? Ping timer. CS TCP async server auth line 367. This one. So it's down here. I'm going to move this to be like that. Try it again. Okay, that worked. Hey, this time we're going to put these things as the right time, and then we're going to now process this. It's going to send it to the stream, and then we want to send it to Discord. And then we want to send it to probably Twitch, right? And then WebSocket. So it didn't send it to the Discord. So we'll check it here. And this time, when I look at my entity and my user, that's good. I look at my path channel and my channel, that's good. Provider type is Twitch. Stream is good. User is null. But I thought Hey Joan, how are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you doing today? It's been a little bit. So my server source here is a server DTO, and I can't convert it. This is going to be your mapper to server Discord DTO, and this will be server. You also want to include your route and your route.bot so that you can do this as a bot Discord DTO. I'm sorry, as a user Discord DTO. And you want to do this from your path.route.bot.user. Okay, now I'm going to rinse and repeat this down here for the Twitch one. So this will just be a path. And we're going to get out this GUID Twitch. And I just want to get my paths here with everything else as my GUID Twitch. And if it's not equal to null, then we'll just do this and put this as a server Twitch DTO and put this as a user Twitch DTO. And that's it. Okay. We need to do the same thing on WebSocket. Do my scholarship, making a web API with Node and Express and some MySQL to access. My API isn't going to mainly connect to a phone app. That's cool. JWT is good. So you're using identity server then? This is going to be good WebSocket. Like that, and then we'll process this. Okay, and the last one is up here for the web TCP. Call this path TCP. GUID TCP. And then I want to do this one as TCP. And then we'll process it. Which means that in my final thing where you're routing these things back here, we can turn that back on. Then we'll log in. Go to here. We want to join stream 1. Select my outbound bot and do a test. All right, that worked, and it sent it from the right user. There's the next one. Now I don't see that broadcasting back. Here. Okay, we're going to look at my message here, which is filled. Try it one more time. Now my authorized users are only one, but I have one connection on it. Right. So back here on the hub, I should have a on message received or something like that. Here. I never received it. Okay, this time I received my message, which isn't the whole message, it's only part of the message. And that's why that's failing. Okay, and this is where it's broadcasting the message. Hey there, Bobby Bite. So if I look at my client, this thing is being managed by this. When I send this to server, it's doing it as a begin send. And so down here on the async client, on the server, there I get my read call back. I didn't even get half as far that time. Let's try it one more time. Okay, so now we're going to connect. And send some stuff is here. My bytes read are 769. If I look here at my message, it looks good. So now when I'm sending this out to all clients, if I look at send, that's my next message. And it's a little over at 11:56. And we have my send callback. And I only received the second half of the message. So why would I only be receiving the second half of the message? If I look at my client, it's because this is all messed up. So let me pull this one over. Let's do this correctly. We're going to say this. And then I'm going to get my end receive. And so now, if my bytes read are greater than 0, then we can do this. Otherwise, we can do this. And then down here, we'll have my catch. Like that. This one goes away. Like that. Who is that? Hello, Smoky Bomb. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. And then you have something here called read callback. This needs to be called a handler. And we're going to say that this is a receive callback. We'll run it again. Welcome aboard, says John. All right, so we're going to log in here, check out my stream. Like that, and do a test. Send it all the way back. There it is. We get my packet for where we're broadcasting it. And where did I receive it? And here my message is the content. So it's working correctly now. So we can fire this. Trace it up. We deserialize my message. Ooh, that was very unhappy with me. So here when I look at my content, it looks like this has been serialized a second time. That wasn't good. Well, that looks a little better. Now my packet never made it through the cascades. So this one needs to be a packet equals a new DTO packet, which is a action equals my int of my action type dot send to client. And the data here is going to be your content. And my timestamp is datetime.utc now. Now before I do this, when I look at my content, that's fine. I log in. Go from here and out. We'll do this as another test. There it is. I look at my message. It looks good. I put that in as the packet. here, if I look at my content, hey there, he codes too much. How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. That one doesn't work, so it'll fail there. But if I ran it again, this time I got it all. So this needs to be a try and a catch. And you can put this one here and this one up here. And I want this to be a JSON convert.deserialize object into a packet DTO of my content. And I'll do this as a packet equals this. And then this one would be a packet.data. Log in here. That would fail. Okay. Let it send out. We're going to append my SB. And this time my content isn't the whole thing, it's only some of it, so that should error. So we got an issue here with this thing on the client. I want to see it digest the Pong. That didn't work. Try it again. So let me look up here on a C# asynchronous TCP server. So let me just check this thing here. So you have your start, where we get my IPs, and then we do a begin connect. And then a connect done, wait one. This is where we send it. And down here under my send callback, we do the send done and no receive. This one we need to have the Pong in here as well. So let's give it another send over some data. Hey, Fallen Hope, how are you doing? Apologies, the chat's on a different monitor right now. We get it? Let me look at my content. This time my packet looks good. We look at the data. We can deserialize it. I can go ahead and I can display my message here and fire my message event. And there it is. And now it's working. Give me 1 second, I'll be right there, okay?
Okay.
So we still got a little bit of work. We saw that it's disconnecting still, so let me write that down. We saw that the ping is not being digested by the client. Ping for TCP messages not being responded to. This one we didn't know anything about, but that's it for me for today. So thanks so much for staying with me. I'll be back in the, well, I'll probably be back later today. So why don't we say about 3 hours? So that'll be 5 p.m. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the channel, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Also, I put all these videos up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. So thanks very much for staying with me today, guys. And I will see you a little bit later. Have a good one. Bye. Have a good one, guys. Bye.